are here on William Street, kitty corner from NYPD, next to Cottage Inn at Iorio's Gelateria. Gelateria. I can say Iorio's, but I can't say Gelateria.
Yeah, you got the hard part right.
Thank you. I'm here with Mary and Nick Lemmer, the dynamic brother-sister duo from the LA area. That's the Lansing area where I'm also from. So not the same high school, but grew up, and we are all Ann Arbor transplants.
Much different eras too.
That's thanks for rubbing that in. It's a common theme in my episodes is how old I am or how old I feel sometimes. So anyway, we've known each other for some time. And I've always loved both of your stories. I love you both too, but I love your stories more. And when we started this, I thought, let's get in here. And in the dead of winter, so we can't enjoy any ice cream, any gelato, I should say. And here's some of your story, because I think it's a fun story. So let me start off by, you both went to Michigan, both came here, but Mary, you're older.
Yes, by a few years.
All right, so you came first. Nick came second. How did this all start?
Well, the way I like to tell it is that it started in the mountains of Italy.
Whoa.
Literally.
But no, in all seriousness, our great-grandfather, Iorio, came to the United States with his 5 daughters in the Philadelphia area, built houses, apartments, and there's still a family beach house in Long Beach Island, New Jersey, where as kids we'd go out every summer to visit that side of the family and enjoy some Italian ice and gelato. And when we'd come back after that week of the summer, you'd go to come back to Michigan and go, where can we get some gelato? And he'd be like, well, nobody has it. Nobody's crazy enough to sell that stuff in Michigan.
Especially in the Lansing area.
In the Lansing area.
Gelato?
We're very thankful for our Lansing roots. But so anyway, he, and this was kind of more Mary and his deal, challenged us to get a cart and got our first order of product. And we started slinging some frozen desserts in the Lansing area. Most famously in the old Lansing City Market, which you probably remember.
Yeah, I do.
Very different than it is today. And that was our summer job in middle school and in high school. Anywhere our parents would take us, because I don't think at the time we could drive, nor did they probably want us pulling trailers with frozen dessert carts. We actually we had a conversion van, and we'd take the bucket seats out and roll the cart into the side of this big giant van.
That's like the original food truck.
That is the original food truck.
Conversion
and go
van.
to basketball tournaments.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so once we did all these fairs and carnivals, people go, where can we get this all year round? And the Lansing City Market was seasonal at the time. And so when they rebuilt it, we're going to go all in on this gelato stuff. And so we had this big gelato booth. We were at the time purchasing it from somewhere else with kind of, here are the flavors we want. This is what kind of texture we want.
And you were in high school around this time?
Yeah. High school, yeah. I think you might have been at Michigan already, because it was around the time of my senior year. But we had, our friends were our employees. Yeah. Our mom was doing her taxes, and a great little summer job that turned out into an all-year job. During cross country, we would run there instead of run and go get free gelato.
That's why LCC's team was so fast.
Yes,
that's right.
Exactly. The sugar high. But then, Mary met through her business school connections, her mentor, Jeffrey Post, who's the original owner of this building. And there was a store moving out, and he's like, why don't you guys do what you were doing in Lansing in Ann Arbor?
And it was a cell phone accessory store before this. So when we came to see it, it didn't scream like Gelato Cafe. It looked very different.
Right.
But it was really just what we needed. And he was so flexible with us to figure something out to make sure it would work before we went all in.
Oh, that's awesome.
And apparently when starting a business and building in Ann Arbor, you have to hire an architect and do city plans. Yeah. So we were fortunate. I don't know if you did an email blast or something.
Frida Petito's had just opened, or it was pretty early in that, and I just like loved the design, and I asked them who their architect was.
Yeah.
And then I emailed him and said like just well-crafted email, right? Like, we are doing this new gelato business. I saw what you did at Frida Petito's. Like, I really love your work. Would love to have you like part of this or chat with you if you're interested. Sent it off, got a response immediately, and he's like, I run the study abroad program for the School of Architecture. We go to Italy. My favorite gelato flavor is pistachio. When can we chat? And I was like, oh my gosh. And so
way to seed that with how he wants to get paid.
Which is how we paid him. So it was like really a fortunate series of events that came together.
Yeah. And so that opened up on the first day of the art fair in 2011. Got a conditional license from the city because of some issues that we had with our building permit, but they were very kind to grant us occupancy. No chairs, no tables. Got a lot of bad Yelp reviews that week because they're like, why does this place not have chairs? But worked out and sold a lot of gelato. Because back in the day with our cart, we used to be over in front of White Market and College Shoe Repair.
For the art fair.
Starting
what used to be White Market.
Yes, RIP. Yeah. But yeah, so that's how we ended up here, both in school at the time and running a business, working and occasionally going to class for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had just graduated and I was working at a venture capital firm downtown called RPM Ventures.
Shout out Tony Grover.
Yeah, was he in your podcast?
He was not. We should have Tony on our podcast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. So my deal with them was I said, yeah, I'll come work for you, but I have to still be involved in my gelato business. Like, that's really important to me. And they're like, all right. So I would, work there during the day and come here afterwards. And I had like a lot of anxiety, I was very overworked. I wasn't taking care of myself. And I remember distinctly, like there was one time, like the POS, I had like driven by in the morning and the person that was supposed to open wasn't here. And I like came in and I think I might have like picked up the iPad POS and like dropped it, or it was like broken for some reason. I don't know if I broke it or someone else broke it. It doesn't matter. It was broken. I was super stressed out. And I was like, I have to go take this to the Apple store. I go do that and I come back and I call the person that's supposed to be here and I come back and I like went upstairs with these bean bags and I like sat there and like cried and my nose was bleeding. And at the time she was a gelatista, as we call them. She ended up being our manager, Carrie. She came upstairs and she saw me and she's like, you need to go home. Like, you need to take care of yourself. Like, you're a wreck. And I just felt so embarrassed and so just awful. I was like, here I, was like just a mess, like publicly a mess. And someone that, you'd think would look up to me is like, you're a mess. And that was kind of this wake up call of, I need to do something to like take care of my anxiety and dealing with all this stuff that would come up. And so that inspired one, a vacation, and then two, well-deserved vacation. Right. Every business owner, right? Every vacation seems like a diamond. It's like,
it does until you have kids, and then you need a vacation from your vacation.
I think that's called a babysitter.
Forward lives, yeah, exactly.
So then I took the vacation and I enrolled in some improv classes because I thought that would be fun and relaxing.
And so you were in Ann Arbor when you did that?
Yeah, Mike Fidel, shout out to Mike Fidel. I think he's involved with Pointless Brewery now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He led this like community improv class, and first day I was so hooked. I was like, this is amazing. I don't have to like think about anything. I don't have to like plan something or like think about all the different things I have to do in my day. I just get to be and no matter how I show up, it's like, okay. And I kept doing it. It became like my therapy. And over time, I realized it was helping me be a better entrepreneur.
It's okay. Come on in.
We're not open right now. Yeah. It's okay. We're opening soon. We'll announce it soon.
It's a good sign.
This is real life on-site podcasting. Is customers coming in, knocking down the door, getting in there. But so sorry to.
They want that gelato on this 20-degree day. Exactly. Got to warm up.
It always surprises me.
We're absolutely leaving this in. We're not editing this.
Oh, good. That's great. People should know.
They
That
should
people
know.
come
You
here
can see me
even
wagging
with
my
us.
finger
Yeah,
at the
exactly,
guy.
yeah.
Get out of here.
So
No gelato for
No
you.
gelato. No
So-
soup for you.
so improv. So you're doing improv. You're loving it. You're hooked. But
Yeah.
you're still here. Still working.
Yeah, and at RPM, working with like these fast-growing companies,
Yeah.
and realizing that
Gelato is not a fast-growing company.
but it was kind of funny because when I would meet these like tech CEOs, they'd come in with their business raising like $2-3 million, and I'd share with them about the gelato business, and they're kind of like, "That's cute," and I'm like, "My gelato business makes more money than your like you're losing money.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
do you not? It's like a different type of business."
Right.
So I think I learned to appreciate I don't know why people call them small businesses because there's a lot of really big small businesses,
that's right.
but the business that grows over time
Yeah.
and doesn't raise a bunch of capital.
They call it the lifestyle business,
Okay.
as it's a negative thing.
Right.
Like, oh, it only can afford to afford your lifestyle. When in reality, it's just everything that's not high growth, right? It's like gets lumped into lifestyle.
Yeah, and some of those lifestyle business owners own helicopters,
Yeah, exactly.
so that's their lifestyle.
That's right. Just depends on what you want your lifestyle to be.
Exactly,
Right? Yeah.
and that will influence what kind of lifestyle business you start.
Right.
So I saw these like high growth entrepreneurs and experienced what we had gone through with Iorio's, which everything, you can't plan everything. Like there's things that come up all the time that you don't plan for, and the only certainty is uncertainty.
Right.
And so I realized improv was helping me like manage that uncertainty and be more just, okay, like this is going on, like the POS broke, or like someone's not here on their shift. And instead of letting it affect me physically, I'm like, okay, move on and like deal with the situation. It's almost like I just became more realistic about things. And so over time it helped me, and I started developing different ways to help these entrepreneurs that I would see come in to try to raise money, who also would like freak out when the investor would ask them a question. They'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get to that on slide 14. It's like, just answer the question and then keep with your slide. But they couldn't get out of their pattern, and that killed
They had practiced
chance.
and rehearsed one path, one way.
Yeah, and that works never.
Yeah, right.
For anything.
Right.
So that's has inspired helping and sharing like different leadership trainings and workshops using improv to help
So
entrepreneurs.
you use improv as a strategy for yourself.
Yeah.
And now you've taken that and you're doing all sorts at the intersection of improv and startup, right? So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about some of the things you do, the shows. And,
Yeah,
and
I do
events.
a late night show called Startup Late Night. We've done 6 live shows, and now we're doing online content. It's kind of like the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, but I interview entrepreneurs and investors and nonprofit leaders and play improv comedy games with them. As I do believe that humor is like this. It's like a universal like language of sorts, and in the business world, and especially in startups, like people take it so seriously. I took it so seriously, and so it's kind of like fun to see people just be real and be human, and it's kind of a way of bringing those worlds together.
Yeah.
So, and then the Founders and the Fiat is like a segment of that, which we're gonna do.
We'll do
Yes, as a parody of comedians in cars getting coffee.
Right.
And
Maybe
a great
wait till
way.
there's no snow. That Fiat,
I know.
I think it would be funnier if we had to eat the gelato
In the snow.
in like February. Like we'll do it next month, and
Yeah.
when it's still cold.
Yeah, exactly.
No gloves.
The peak of the winter.
Right.
Yeah. No gloves standing outside with the gelato.
Exactly.
It's good even in the winter. It will be the only like bright color is that yellow cup. Is like everything else is gray.
Yeah, gray and white. Yeah,
Little
absolutely.
sunshine.
So that was a great outlet for you, and you've taken what you built here and what you learned here, and you're still involved, but you're doing lots of other things. At this time, Nick, you're out of college.
Out of college, graduated.
Working and spending all your time here at Iorio's, right?
Right. Yep.
And you started working on expansion and growth, as we all are wont to do, and we think we found something, right?
The choice was either grow the business or use the engineering degree.
Nobody wants to do that.
Right.
Let me tell you. Right? Yeah.
Do you have an engineering degree?
I do. Yeah. 2. Whoops. Sorry.
You're engineering shirts.
Sorry, mom and dad. Yeah. Exactly. sorry, engineering department of Michigan. But so you're Working on growing the business.
Working on growing the business, decide what better place to go back than the old LA, Lansing area, as we said earlier, but except move more towards the college side of it in East Lansing. And, we had a good thing going here in Ann Arbor. And, we've got this package of Iorio Gelato. We can bring it anywhere, except let's take it a step further and start controlling our supply chain, making our own product, because we not that we weren't unhappy with our current product, because we'd sold it for a long time. We just wanted to make it better for our customers. And
because you had the shop, but it was essentially retail. You were purchasing gelato from another supplier.
Another supplier.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. Price it out, get the building up going, and a lot of excitement to begin with. We found a distributor. We're selling our product outside of our four walls and in grocery stores and restaurants, and figuring out the logistics of all of that. Believe it or not, the engineering degree came in handy.
Yeah.
It kind of sneaks up on you like that.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't working from the retail standpoint, and so
because you had opened a second location.
We were manufacturing in the back of a retail location. You figure, why not? It makes sense, but there's positives and negatives to both, obviously, and we didn't really know what we didn't know going into it.
That was in East Lansing,
2015. Yeah.
Off of Trowbridge.
Trowbridge, yeah. And I still think that area has a while to go, but it's developing, and it's going to be a nice spot for someone else.
Right.
And so ended up in a pretty trying time trying to figure out what to do. And going back to what Mary said with the broken register and the nosebleeds and the staff reliability issues, this was another problem. And there were moments where you sit there and you go, what did we do? But and I credit Mary with a lot of your power of positive thinking. Was that Tony Robbins?
Somewhat.
But improv the situation and figure out, how do we get out of this? What's the best way out of it? And how do we move forward? And so, I'm not going to lie and say that it was easy and that it was always like peaches and rainbows, but the next
gelato flavor.
The next gelato flavor, peaches and rainbows. That's what got us out of it. No,
we sold a lot of peach and rainbow gelato.
But ended up finding, being honest with ourselves. I think that's the key. Don't necessarily take it as a failure, but say, look, okay, this isn't working. How are we gonna fix it? And that involves a lot of difficult conversations and sticking up for yourself too, because you gotta have conversations with lawyers and real estate people and other people's lawyers, investors, and so found a subletter, and at the same time we're fortunate that a local market, Horrocks Farm Market in Lansing, reached out and wanted us to do what we did best and serve and sell gelato inside of their store. So they recognize that we're good at what we do and we have a great product, and it just, it was a better fit for where we were at that time.
Well, you remember how fast that moved? It was.
I attribute that to the Horrocks. They move fast.
Yeah, it was like as soon as we decided that we were done with that East Lansing space and we needed to move on from it. Yeah. We designed and launched our new pints. We walked into Horrocks and we're like, do you sell gelato here? They're like, no, but we could put a freezer here. Mm-hmm. Hey, maybe someday you could make your gelato here and serve it here too. And we're like, yeah, maybe someday. And 2 weeks later, they called us so when are you ready to make and serve gelato here? Yeah. And so it was kind of we cleared out what wasn't working and created space for all this stuff that was going to help us grow and get out of this situation.
Which gave us there was only a couple weeks of overlap, but it gave us a great message. Because anytime you're being entrepreneurs, you've opened, you've closed things, and that messaging of why, instead of just putting up a sign on the door that says, hey, we're closed, see you later. Yeah. It was, hey, we're moving. We're so excited. Yeah. We have this great opportunity, and nobody needs to know, and frankly, nobody necessarily cares about all of the stuff in the background.
Right.
And that's, again, improvising the message and selling it as, of course we had this planned. You know?
Yeah. It came out so smooth.
And full circle, you bring gelato back to the Lansing area.
Back to the Lansing area.
Right.
We can't escape it, really.
It's home, right?
It is home.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
There are still people that came to City Market that shop at Horrocks.
yeah.
Well, the best stories are when we first started, our brand was a mess in terms of you had I'll use
Our logo?
Comic Sans font.
Comics.
If you have Comic Sans font in your logo, you really,
You're not a business.
what kind of decisions are you making?
Yeah.
You're new.
Or,
You're new to this.
or papyrus. One of them. Papyrus or Comic Sans. Yeah.
And so we had these little cards, the frequent buyer cards, blue of all colors. And
the chill card.
10 years later, we're still getting people that bring those in. Like, is this good?
No, that's a different company.
And
No, that's not. Yeah, we
I
would
always
never
upgrade.
use that.
You get a free pint for holding on to that.
Yeah.
I can't even hold on to a pen for a week. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's great.
I love those people. Save everything.
Yeah.
Never know.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I think for everyone that comes back into town, or if you're in town, come on by. When do we open?
Coming soon. We've got some exciting plans that we're working on.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
All right.
Can't tell you yet.
We'll link to the website in the episode notes.
And Instagram. We're really great on Instagram.
All right,
Those photos are
We'll
mouthwatering.
link to Instagram.
Once we
and
let
then-
somebody else do it, we got really good at it.
Yeah, exactly.
And Mary will link to the show as well. So
Awesome.
if people want to check that out, and we can get together on how we make the improv startup the lean startup, right? It's like the improv startup.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, the improvised startup. I like that.
Yeah, there we
Maybe
go.
there's a book in there somewhere.
Right on.
Careful, she's going to start selling that. You're going to get no credit for it.
Oh,
all
I'll
right.
give Rishi. I'll look credit for that.
My favorite is also pistachio pistachio gelato. So there you go, right? All right.
It's a good favorite. You can tell if a gelato place is, if they're good, if their pistachio is good.
All right.
And you
Right.
can always buy our pistachio gelato in the Bush's Market. So
That's great. All right.
or another 100 locations.
Yeah,
There you
check
go.
out our website because
Yeah.
we've got all the places where you can find it.
We will link to that as well. So
Awesome. Lots
all
of
right.
links.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Lemmer. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.